Building a Tenor Guitar, Part 2 at randallprice.com. The first thing I need to do in building a tenor guitar is to make a template for a pattern for cutting out the top, and also to use to make the form in building the guitar. To make the template, I've taken a piece of tracing paper, and I didn't have a piece that was large enough, so I taped it together and traced the outline of half the guitar on the tracing paper. I'll then use some spray adhesive to stick this tracing paper to a piece of 1/4 inch hardboard, and I'll cut that out on the bandsaw fairly close to the line, and then sand down to the line to get my template. I've taped my tracing paper to a piece of hardboard and taken care to line the center line of the guitar up with one edge of the hardboard, an edge that's sawn straight. I taped one edge down so I can keep that aligned. I'm going to fold this back and spray some spray adhesive on here and stick it down. I really like using this 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. I use that a lot around the shop. I use it to make sanding blocks. You know, I can make a sanding block of any shape I want and just spray some spray adhesive on there and stick the sandpaper right to it. So it's great stuff. I'm going to try to stick this down without getting too many wrinkles in it. There we go. Next, I'll take this over to the bandsaw and saw out the outline, staying just slightly outside the line, and then I'll later sand down to the line with a drum sander and compare that as I go to my original plan to make sure that I got it right down to the right size. Okay, I just quickly sawed off the 3 edges of this in the bandsaw, so it would be a little bit more maneuverable for me to cut out the outline. I'll do that next. There's the outline of the guitar. So I'll fire up the dust collector and drill press and get that sanded down to the line. The closer I've gotten down to the line, I've been comparing it against the blueprint, and I've just made a little pencil mark on the places where I need to take just a little bit more off. I've gotten down to my line that was on the tracing paper, but comparing it to the plan, I'm just doing some slight little touch-ups in a couple of places. This would be hard to see in the video, but as I was sanding the edges of the template, I was bringing it back here over to the plan, lining the edge up with the center line, and looking at the profile to make sure I was down to the line. Where I needed to take off a little more, I was making marks on the top so I knew where to sand off. I've got it to the point where when I put the back edge on the center line, I can see just about half of the line on the outline. So that's where I want to be. One thing I noticed, and you might want to take care of if you do this, was that as I sanded, this tracing paper had a tendency to kind of peel back and up. So where my pencil line was peeling up and back. So I was still showing a line there, but I was actually farther in on the edge of the hardboard than what the paper showed. So as you get close, you need to bring it over to the blueprint and compare it. I actually took a utility knife at an angle as that paper peeled up, and I tried to trim it back a little bit so I could see exactly where I was. But just take care, compare it to your blueprint often as you sand down to that line. On Building a Tenor Guitar Part 3, you'll see how to build the tenor guitar mold. For more woodworking plans, tips, and techniques, visit randallprice.com.